Hi everyone, going to be doing a quick demo of the contactable KYC non-face-to-face process. The minimum requirements for the non-face-to-face process is an application that has to be saved. As you'll see, I have saved an application for a client. What we will then do, we'll proceed to the right-hand side of the page. In the inbox, there will be a KYC column. It has the fingerprint icon. We'll click on that fingerprint icon and we will look at the contactable options. We have face-to-face and non-face-to-face. A quick overview of the differences between the two. Face-to-face requires a mobile application on your mobile device, and non-face-to-face will send out a link to the client either via email or SMS to be able to complete remotely on their device. You can use the same process to complete the KYC on board of the client internally or face-to-face as well. You'll notice we have the client's ID number and their name. If you select the process that you want to use, so in this instance, non-face-to-face, it will then allow you to select the options of sending that link out to the client. In this instance, I'll select SMS. What you'll notice is there's a new field that appears. That field is a cell phone number field. It'll populate the client's cell phone number from the application. If the cell phone number has changed or is incorrect and you would like to make changes, you can change the cell phone number that is displayed in that field. In this instance, it is correct. I will click on send link. That will then give a message to the F&I that it's been queued for submission to the client. If we then switch over to cell phone and act as the client in this instance, we've just received the SMS. The SMS will basically state the dealership name and Lightstone. Thank you for choosing us. To verify your identity using the contactable process, please click on the link. We will click on that link. The client will be redirected to an onboarding page. The first time used, they might be prompted for camera access. It gives a brief description on this page of how it works. So you're going to require your ID card or ID book, driver's license, and a valid proof of address. It is also recommended that once you start the process, you do not stop, as if you do stop, you will be most likely required to have a new link sent to you to continue again. There is some terms and conditions. If the client would like to read them, they can click on the privacy policy, the subscriber agreement, and terms of use hyperlinks. In this instance, I'll accept all those conditions and click on submit. The next step is for the client to enter their ID number. And click on submit. Then it's the first capturing process. You'll see as instructions given on the screen. Take an image with a solid background and also within the border displayed in a well-lit area, and try not to take a blurry photo in that instance. Okay, so we'll close that pop-up. Move the screen a bit, and we'll take the front image of the ID card. You can select a green ID book, depending on what the client has. And then take the back image of the ID card. We'll click on yes, and you'll click on submit. Okay, the next step, it will give instructions again. It's the same instructions. We'll close the instructions box, and we'll take the front image of the driver's license. We'll accept that, and then we'll take the back image of the driver's license and accept that. We'll then submit once more. Okay, the next step is going to be for a selfie image of the client. There's instructions once again, solid background in a well-lit area, neutral expressions as if it was a passport or a ID book photo, no headwear, no glasses, and you must face the camera, obviously. Going to take that image quickly. The next step will be to capture the address. I'll capture an address quickly. And we will submit. Then a proof of address document will be required for the address that's been captured. The client can either upload a file from their device or they can take a photo of it. In this instance, I'll use the camera to take a photo. And we will accept. and we will submit that. And once it's finalizing here, it will give the client a message that they've completed the onboard and they can close the browser. That is the client's portion of this completed. Okay, returning to Signio. If the F&I refreshes their inbox, they'll notice that the KYC icon for that specific entry has changed color. It now shows as an orange KYC icon. This is the intermediary step. It will then form the F&I to actually take action and complete the onboard section on Athena. So once this has changed to this orange color, the F&I will click on that icon again. They'll select the non-face-to-face option. You'll see an entry state in the KYC process pending and the type of option selected. So this instance says non-face-to-face. The F&I can then click on perform contactable check. Okay. Once the button has been clicked, you'll be redirected to the Athena page. Just a quick overview of the page. On the top, you will notice there's a threshold bar or validation threshold bar. We're currently sitting at 70% risk. We have the aim of being 10% or below. On the left-hand side is basic information of the client, as well as the agent that's logged in to assist the client, as well as the agent that's logged in to complete the profile. On the bottom, there is the notes section. This will be every step that's taken. It will be saved in that notes column and forwarded back in the document back at the end. And then there's the different steps that we need to complete now from what the client has captured. So the first one we'll open is the identity image validation. This one has auto completed. We will go in there and update it. So you'll notice it's the client's selfie image versus the country image, which is the harness image, as well as the image on their ID card or ID book. There's a threshold and a score. We have passed the threshold with the score. Amy is the automated engine that does this. We are confident in this. We can toggle the image validation pass. If there was a comment that the F&I would like to add, they can enter it here. Just a quick explanation of the 4 buttons at the bottom. If you click back, you'll go back to the previous page. If you click fail, you're failing the record completely. For this instance, it would be, for example, that the client shown here is not the client shown in the country image. Escalate would be if you would like a secondary person or the escalation nominated user to view the KYC record and complete the record on your behalf. And save is to save the action on the current page. Okay, you'll see that the score has not reduced as it was already on 70% and auto completed. The next step we'll do is to open the identity document validation. This will load the front and back images of the ID card captured or the front image of the ID book. It will give basic details of the agent that's verifying this as well as the client details. It then also shows the selfie image and the harness image, as well as gives the confidence score and the threshold. The harness reference number would also be included. Then there's a section for OCR, which means optical character recognition. It's basically reading the characters off your ID card or ID book and comparing your name and surname initials to third-party data. In this instance, it has passed. We will scroll further down, change the toggle for identity document pass, and save our action. Okay, you'll notice now that the threshold or our score is now at 45%. We'll move on to the next step, which is proof of address at source. This will be the proof of address the client has provided. In any instance where the client has provided a proof of address that is not correct, you will be able to select a file from your computer and change the file that the client has uploaded or taken a photo of. Okay, in this instance, we will accept the proof of address and we will save our action. Our score is now reduced to 25% risk. We will then open the next step, which is sanction or PEP. There's no sanction or PEP hits returned in this result, so we'll automatically just save this. Okay, at this moment, we are able to validate the profile as we do meet the minimum risk requirements. However, we will continue with the proof of address fuzzy logic. The proof of address fuzzy logic is industry data, so it's comparing the address captured on the onboard that the client did as well as industry data for their client. So in this instance, the first address is actually a correct match. However, it doesn't include the city. We will accept that. We can add a comment and we can save that. Okay, now we add 0% risk. This is because the driver's license document is just the front and back image of the driver's card, and there's no validations done on that. So in this instance, we will accept that document and we will save our action. Now the profile is completely validated. We will click on the Validate Profile button. This will then log the F&I out of Athena, and they can close this page. The F&I will then need to wait for 5 or so minutes, as the document pack does take a little while to be sent back to Signia. After waiting the few minutes for the document pack to return, you'll notice the KYC icon in the inbox has changed to green. If you do click on it, it will show you now under the contactable modal that the KYC process has been completed for that client. If we close that, we'll also notice that the supporting documents count has increased. If we open the supporting documents, we will notice that there's 4 different documents received. Receive a figure pack, which contains the documents of the Athena process. So each step we validated basically has a document pack or a document for that. Then we also receive a driver's license document, the ID book document, and a proof of address document separate. That is the contactable non-face-to-face solution. Thank you.